All right, so here's a tutorial on how to use a trading platform called Coinigy. Coinigy is one of my favorite trading tools to use. I use it all the time because it has the most cryptocurrencies and crypto markets available. And it's got a lot of similar charting tools that you have in TradingView, except it's more tailored towards crypto and it's got some other features as well and applications that kind of put it on the next level, right? So if you're really serious about trading crypto, I see this as a must, right? So as traders, we don't necessarily have a lot of operational costs, so this is definitely something that you want to get yourself, right? So let me show you some of the things that I like to use in Coinigy. Now, there's a ton of tools and things that you can use in Coinigy, and you could explore this platform for hours. I'm just going to show you the things that are the most important to me when I'm trading and the things that I use the most, right? So right here, you have all the different types of exchanges all on the side here. And what you can do is you can just type in, let's say, any market. So if I put BTC, it'll show me different pairings. So I can, I could look at, let's say, China. I want to see what the Huobi price is over in China, or CNY price. I can just see that. If I want to look at, some of the USD prices, I could go to Bitstamp or Bitfinex and see what the price is there. The two markets that I tend to look at the most are the USD markets and the CNY, Chinese yuan markets, predominantly because they have the most liquidity, right? So you have these candlesticks right here, which represents the high, low, open, and close. And as you can see right here, it'll show you the exact price of each candlestick as you move over them. And I can use a scroll wheel to to basically increase the size of the sticks, zoom in, zoom out type of thing. Or let's say I want to look at some uncharted price action that I can't see. Like let's say I was in a trade and I wanted to see, okay, where would the price go if it breaks out? You can go on the side here and you can left click and just drag, right? So you can see multiple different price points and drag it. And if you want to bring it back to its usual, just double click, 2 left clicks right there. You've got all the months down here. It depends on the time frame, so you can look at various different time frames of candlestick charts. So this is a monthly. You can go on a daily. If you want to scalp, you can go on a much smaller time frame, like the 5-minute charts. And there's a whole bunch of various different charting tools as well. So the most important charting tool for me is obviously a trend line, right? Because a trend line allows you to be able to identify support and resistance, identify where the trend's going, things like that. We're going to get into more of that in another section. So to set a trend line, what you do is you click on this, you left click, you drag, and then you left click again, and that just kind of anchors it. And then you can move this around, right? And you can shrink it, you can extend it. There's other types of charting tools as well in here, a whole bunch of different ones. Another one that's kind of generally good is just having an arrow. If you want to point at something, right? So that you can kind of treat the charts like a bit of a science and an art, right? I mean, there's definitely some principles in trading and technical analysis that people generally follow, but you can have your own interpretation of those principles, right? So it's not like anything's written in stone. You can point to certain things, you can say certain things. If you want to write something, so let's say I wanted to point towards this volume increase right here. So you can see all the volume bars. You can click this A over here, so left click, and then you left click down here, and then I can write something like volume increase, right? So I could point that out. You know, I can change the size of the fonts right up here, change the color, so you can kind of decorate the chart any way you want. Let's say I want to just delete everything that I wrote. I can just right click, and then I have all these other options, and then I can do remove all indicators or remove all drawing tools, or both, all indicators, drawing tools. Now you also have these other patterns here. My favorite out of all of these is head and shoulders, which we'll get into later, but you can draw out various different types of patterns. So again, you just left click it. So if I were to look at, let's say, 3-day chart, oops, you know, if I wanted to draw a head and shoulders somewhere, I could just do that, you know, maybe somewhere here. And you know, these don't have to, and we're going to get into the head and shoulders pattern later. Well, here's one potential example, just a small one right here. So I'm just basically left clicking, right, to anchor everything. And then if I want to delete it, I can just right click on it and then just click remove, or you know, I can clone or copy it. So I'll just remove it. This tool is interesting. You can really calculate your risk to reward with this tool right there. So let's say I were to catch a breakout right here, and we're going to get into breakouts in a bit in the next section. And let's say I set a target, you know, at prior resistance, and I set a stop below support or whatever. So it shows that this is kind of like a 3-to-1 risk to reward ratio. You know, I could lose 12% of my trade and make, you know, 37% on this if it goes according to plan, right? And you know, you could do the opposite. So you can also do short position as well, right? So if I wanted to short and set a stop above resistance and then set a target, you know, let's say there's a trend line here and I want to set a target, I could do something like that, right? And this would give like a 6-to-1 ratio. So it'd be a good trade entry. And then you have all these tools right here. And again, I'm just showing you the ones that I like to use. You can explore this and, you know, tailor a specific trading strategy that suits you and technical analysis. But you could do all kinds of stuff, you know, if you want to really make things interesting for if you're sharing a chart, you know, and put some smiley faces or whatever. You can expand it by grabbing on that or shrink it. You know, you can stretch it. You can, you know, do all kinds of stuff, right? So get creative, explore. Some other things that you'll want to look at is you can set alerts. So, and you could set SMS alerts, like text alerts, as well as alerts for your email. So let's say I have an alert. Okay, I wanna see where this breakout is. So I just clicked on that alert button, and it's like whenever the price breaks out above this area, I want to be notified. I want to know that there's oops, what happened there? Actually, let me set that up again. All right, so yes, you can just adjust your alert. Okay, so let's look at here. Let's say it breaks out above the all-time high. I can pull this up and look, you could just see an alert went off. Set above the all-time high, and then boom, confirm alert. So if we break out the all-time high, I'm going to receive a text, and then you could set all of that up over in the setting or the alert section and such. And there's a whole bunch of other different tools that you can use. There's a bunch of interesting apps that are very specific to Coinigy. So, I showed you in another section, but we'll look at this again, the arbitrage matrix. This is an application that'll just kind of show you all the different arbitrage opportunities, which we'll look at later. So basically just looks at the price differences between various different Bitcoin exchanges. Other apps that we have is you can look at, Block Explorer. So Block Explorer is just Bitcoin transactions. Oh, sorry, it's coming soon, so that's not available yet. Newswire. So this kind of shows you all kinds of various different news events. They have Google Sheets. And there's SMS alerts and such that I was talking about before. So let's just see what the Newswire looks like. So if you want to stay on top of, fundamentals as far as news is concerned, this just kind of gives you a conglomerate of consolidation of all various different news stories that were released recently. So it could be like your one-stop news feed if that's what you're into. If you're into looking at news, and you could actually trade directly through Coinigy. Now, I don't do this, but you could manage multiple accounts, and they'll give you a tutorial as well, right? So they'll explain everything for you if you want to just go through another tutorial if I missed something in this section. But you could add new exchanges and wallets and stuff. Now, if you're going to do something like that, you definitely want to make sure you activate two-factor authentication, and then it'll show you your balances and such if you're trading. But I don't use that section. I just predominantly I trade directly on the exchanges. So I use this mostly for charting. And another really interesting feature with this is, let's say you want to share a chart, right? So if you're on social media, if you want to share a chart on Twitter, you could do something like, so let's say I were to draw out some trend line here. So as an example, you just click on this right here. It takes a snapshot and it'll generate a link for you. So then you just copy link to tweet, or copy link, sorry. And then it'll show you copy to clipboard. You could tweet it out directly too from here. I'll just give you an example. If I paste this, it'll basically show you your charts, right? So that's a much quicker and easier way of sharing your charts with people, so you don't have to, take a screenshot and crop it and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, so this is just some basics with Coinigy. I highly recommend you explore the various different tools and optimize it so that it's right for you. And we'll see you in the next section. Cheers.